Pinocchio 2022 was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who co-wrote the script with Chris Weitz. It was based on the original Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. It stars Tom Hanks, Luke Evans, few people here and there, but the voice talents include Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Keegan-Michael Key. And my face when I said Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I think tells you what I think about this film, and also whatever title I've decided to create for the video. I did not like this. I grew up, like a lot of us, with the films of Zemeckis and Spielberg, etc., so he's been a part of my childhood, and I generally like his works. But there is something really wrong with this film that even that kind of talent cannot save. Tom Hanks, like I said in my Thor Love and Thunder video with Christian Bale, is one of those actors who literally could sit there and do the very worst performance of his life and you'd still enjoy it mostly. You'd be like, not on your top, not at the top of your game there, but I like you. You're a nice guy. Everyone loves Tom Hanks. But even he cannot rescue this. This takes everything from the original. I don't know about the stories, I've never read them, but when I say original, I'm talking about the original Disney version. It takes everything from that, removes it, and goes, what do you think? And expects us to go, yes, that's brilliant. I mean, I've talked about a lot of the Disney remakes in the past, and, Beauty and the Beast was fine. There were things that were changed that didn't need to be, etc. It was, a lot of people were like, it's trying to be too woke, but it was already, Belle was a strong character, so no, don't agree with that. Aladdin I've changed a bit on because, the whole forced female empowerment of Jasmine, she was already, again, pretty powerful, so yeah, I understand that. I've changed a little. The Lion King didn't need to exist. Cinderella I forget about, as well as the Maleficent stuff. But I've generally been okay with it. Again, except The Lion King, totally pointless. So I was a lot more cautious, I think, going into this because of having, I suppose, diminishing returns over time. And it's not something that I had in my childhood. Pinocchio, the original, was not something that was super important. Most of my knowledge comes from Kingdom Hearts. But even with that and vague recollections of watching it as a kid, I knew that there was a lot that was wrong here. The stuff that's spent more time on that doesn't need to be, okay, setting up Geppetto's, past and things like that a little bit more, fine. I'm okay with that. But there's some stuff that's just skipped over, and there's a joke later on, it's like, this all happened in a day. I'm like, yeah, exactly. But, the original had that as well. But there's so much here that I just was scratching my head over, and there's so many plot holes now because of what they've changed. And there's one section in particular that just hit me wrong. I just could not get my head around why they made these decisions. When they're going through Pleasure Island and Luke Evans is doing his best audition to replace Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, I'm sure, they see all these kids destroying things and everything like that, and Pinocchio's like, oh my god, he's got that horrified look on his face. Now, the entire purpose of Jiminy Cricket, who I will say, one of the highlights, I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that role, brilliant voice performance. Although I didn't like him looking more like a cricket, it took me a while to adjust to. But his conscience being this external thing works very well in the narrative to kind of teach him right from wrong. But Jiminy isn't with him saying that's wrong. Lampwick is very much more of the opposite of what a good character would be. So he's not going to say it's wrong. So why is Pinocchio going, oh no, this is wrong? Now, it could be because he's been told that this is a place where kids can do whatever they want, and maybe it's like, oh, so maybe this is wrong. But it'd be more like, is this wrong? Not looking completely horrified. Now, there is one moment where they're smashing clocks, and because of growing up in Geppetto's workshop, I say growing up, you know what I mean? But because of that connection, he'd be like, oh, I can see the love and care that went into Geppetto's stuff, so I think this is wrong. That's the only one that makes sense. Everything else that he's looking horrified and shocked at, he should just be like, oh, that looks like fun. Because he's a blank slate, he doesn't have an existing conscience. It's the whole purpose of the film, of the story, so that he develops these traits to become a better person and, hopefully by the end of it, a real boy. And there's so much here that, like I say, they just change stuff around or added stuff in because they can. And I don't agree with a lot of it. Now, yes, cutting out the smoking and stuff like that, get it, fine, no issue. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying every change was bad. I don't agree with Monstro's redesign to turn it more into, like, again, to bring the Pirates of the Caribbean into it, more like something you'd see there. I do think Just as a Giant Whale is absolutely terrifying and obviously more of a biblical reference. But it's not as offensive as some of these other ones. And I know this exists in the original cartoon. I don't know about the original story. But because I was thinking about plot holes and things that make no sense, I suddenly realised that animals are a weird thing in this world as well. We have Monstro, who is clearly just monstrous and doesn't communicate. So, totally different thing. He's giant sea creature, we'll take him out the running. But we have characters like Honest John and his more simple companion, who we'll discard him as well, because not much going on up there. But, articulate humanoid fox, clearly understands words and everything like that. But then, opposite side of the spectrum, we have Figaro and Cleo. Now, Figaro clearly, at least in this, definitely kitten. So maybe it's something you grow up and into. I don't know. But it's so weird, there's so many inconsistencies. But like I say, that isn't with this film. So, yeah, Pinocchio 2022, more so than The Lion King, I would even argue, because at least I enjoyed that for the most part. Just does not need to exist. I am happy that Tom Hanks got a paycheck. But I should not be happy with the film's existence just because someone got paid for it. I should enjoy it for what it is, and for anything it gave me. I do think that there's a lot of talent here that was absolutely wasted, both in front and behind the camera. I don't know what was going on. Does someone need to check on Robert Zemeckis? Is he being held at gunpoint, to make this? I don't know. I'd like to say that's a joke, but I don't understand anyone making this and thinking it was good who is otherwise a good filmmaker. I mean, yes, it was well put together. The CGI of Pinocchio, as you can see, looks good. But aside from that, I just don't understand. But I always like to end on a high. I like to finish with a positive, leave you feeling uplifted so that you can watch whatever's next with a clear mind. And I do appreciate one change at the end. Again, I don't know if this is in the original printed works, but the fact that Pinocchio does all this and doesn't immediately get changed into a boy at the end, like a real flesh and blood boy. He still has work to do. And this is a very good message. It's just a shame that it's attached to this film. Because any meaningful change, any change worthy of being recognised and being done, should take time. It should take effort. Otherwise, it's not really a change. It's just I'm doing this now. It's not that much of an important thing. To change who you are as a person, to become better, does require time and effort. You cannot just literally go, hey, I did good today, and a fairy comes along and goes, there you go, have whatever you want. I really do respect that message, and I just wish it was attached to a much better film. That's not technically on a high, but I don't care. I'm not going to talk about Pinocchio anymore. I don't think it deserves any more of my time, or yours. If you've not got Disney Plus and you're thinking of getting it to watch it, don't. Seriously. I've told you the best bit. That's it. But I'm going to leave it there, so thank you very much as always for watching, and until next time, take care.